Hey everybody, what's up? OCD Mikey, Hi-Fi Guy here for another edition of the Mikey Show. And from Munich, Germany. I almost said Munich, Spain. Munich, Germany. And it is the show wrap-up now. Today was the last day of the show. And so I'm just going to go over kind of the things that I saw, some things I'll probably forget, some things. But what stood out and what didn't stand out and what was a disappointment, I forgot about that. I forgot about a couple. I'm going to start off with the disappointments because they just reminded me. I just reminded of one that I didn't write down on my list. I've got my little list of things to mention to you guys. But the first thing that was really crazy, a disappointment, was the Karma room. And I really like Karma equipment. I like the Karma whole thing. But this time I went into the room and it was not pleasing. It was like, and when I say it's not pleasing, I don't mean it wasn't good. I mean, it just didn't hit the mark. We're talking about speakers that are in gear that is exponentially expensive. It shouldn't just be good. It should be freaking amazing, just awesome, incredible. It was not, okay? We went into Karma and I blame it on MSB because that was the silly DAC in there, MSB, whatever that thing is called, the Apex Rossini. That's what I think was in there. It was a 3-stack black thing. And I've heard that DAC before. It's got an edge to it. So Karma had an edge in the room. It had a very harsh kind of cold leading edge on the audio that just was not welcoming. It was not comforting. You didn't want to sit and hang out. You just analyzed the music and it was like the imaging was razor sharp, but that's not the way I like to listen to music, and it's not the way that I remember Karma sounding. I always remember Karma sounding musical and engaging, but it was not that way this time. So it was kind of a thumbs down for me on Karma, which was unfortunate. So something that was really cool were these boom boxes made with parts from exotic supercars. And there was like, one was AMG, and this was like, it looked almost like a hood scoop. It was, and and the grill of a front AMG, and it was 100% carbon fiber, beautiful racing carbon fiber. And this thing kicked some ass. It was really cool. Granted, it's a $15,000 boombox, but it was really sounded great and it looked super cool. One of them was the ass end of a Lamborghini Huracan, or one of the models, I don't even know. But it had killer, just stainless steel exhaust coming up, and this thing kicked ass. It was serious. 35 grand for this boombox. But what a cool thing to have in your shop that you have at the racetrack, where you have your lift and where you stay. Like you've got that condo that's on the track, where you've got your car in there on your lift, and you've got all that shit. This is the kind of thing that goes in there where you jam your tunes. What I liked about it, yes, it was expensive, yes, it was frivolous, but it's not claiming to be anything. It's not trying to portray value at all. It is completely being a toy, and it is not trying to hide and be a value or try and cloak and pretend that it's something that it's not. It's absolutely a frivolous purchase. It's absolutely fun and interesting and cool. And so I thought it was a cool idea. There's a company I'd never seen before called Thomas Mayer, which had, he did these cool amp and preamp, and you'll see this amp and preamp. They were really stealthily designed. The tube went at the back and it was horizontal, and you could cover it up, and it had the driver tube, and it was in the side in a socket or a hole there, and everything was very stealthy. In fact, the thing that I loved about it was that it was the antithesis of showy audio. Like, whereas Dan D'Agostino is on the gaudy end of like show you my ass type stuff, show you my titties, whatever you want to say, show off. This was very understated, and I love understated elegance. I can't stand gaudy gold, chrome, overdone bullshit. It's just too rappy for me, you know what I mean? It's too blingy, and I don't like blingy stuff. I like the stuff that outperforms the blingy stuff, but doesn't look like it. The sleeper stuff, the really low-key, understated elegance, and Thomas Mayer had it by the balls. You put that in your room, it doesn't read. That means you come into the room, you don't notice audio gear. It blends in with the decor. It doesn't stand out. That to me is super cool because it hides. You're not thinking about the gear. You are just listening to the music. And we listened to, he had some speakers. It was very, it was, I mean, how do you, it was great sounding, you know. Did it stand out as uncommonly good? No, you know, when I was listening to it, but the design of the product was what I thought was so cool that I wanted to tell you about. It was fine dining, right? It was fine hi-fi. Maybe I would team it with different speakers. It was hard to get a read on the speakers. We came for a little while. And what is an overwhelming takeaway from this show is the shitty music, the boring music that people used was it was staggering. It was absolutely, you go into these rooms and it's like you're listening to some freaking chamber music or some shit like that that's like wafer thin. It has no balls to it. It's just all about nuance and image and TikTok little wood blocks and shit like that. You're like, dude, throw on some freaking, you know how little rock and roll I heard? Like none, hardly any rock and roll music. And you might say, well, it's not audiophile. Rock and roll music is not audiophile. Well, it doesn't matter. Guess what I listen to? Rock and roll. Guess what my clients that buy $150,000 setups listen to? Rock and freaking roll, okay? My last guy, Dave Tool, huge Tool fan, huge, heavy, strong music fan, and bought the SPA8 amplifier, $80,000 Playback Designs amplifier. So to think that people that buy high-end audio only listen to old, crusty, you know, Vienna, you know, chamber music is bullshit. But that's what we heard the whole freaking time. It was sad. The lack of good music, okay? There was some decent recordings, but all in all, it was like, dude, play some. I told the guys at Acapella, because I went to Acapella, okay? Here's another room I went to. Huge giant horns, really cool speakers. I was like, let's play some Floyd. Let's play something that I can judge these speakers. No, it is not on the program, you know? It's like, it's not on the program. Well, dude, then half my clients are off the program, you know? It's like, off your they don't understand. You need to feed a wide variety. What they don't understand is the younger crowd is coming up under the old fogies, and the younger crowd isn't all into chamber music. Like, it might be cool and it's brilliant and beautiful, but fucking hey, we want to rock out sometimes, you know? And you just such a lack. I didn't even hear blues music, dude. It was like, come on, man. One guy asked, oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, they see me, you know, would you like, and they hold the records out, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So they play Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, and you're just like, oh God, I've heard this song so many times, but whatever. At least that one place that was Omega Audio from Italy. Omega is this company that used to show with Alcivox. They have that real kettle-looking CD player. You've probably seen it. All these red, obnoxious cables. I don't understand why people do cables in red or obnoxious colors. We don't want to see the freaking cables. If you do want to see the cables, maybe you do, but that's not why. I guess some people buy the cables for the look. Some people want to show off how expensive their cables are and what they look at all the cables and draw attention to the cables. That is so not me. I want the cables to disappear. I don't want to see cables. Stein music, another one that I heard. Again, so impossible to judge based on the music that they were playing. It's like I went in, I listened, I was like, I can't get a grip on this. We would go in, we would listen, and then leave, you know? It's like we couldn't get a grip on it. I've known about Stein for a long time. I have great respect for them, but it didn't pull the trigger. Alcivox, man. Danielle's a good guy. I like Danielle, okay? I like him. And I came hoping to hear some balls out of Alcivox, but I did not hear any balls. What I heard was nuance, okay? Up the wazoo. Nuance on top of nuance on top of nuance, okay? But was there any balls? No, there was not. There wasn't any fullness to the bass. There wasn't any slam. There wasn't any visceral impact. And I want visceral impact from something that's $100,000 or more. I'm sorry. I want a Ferrari. I want to be able to go slow if I want to. But when I floor it, it needs to have the goods. It needs to fucking kick ass. That's all it needs to do. I mean, it should at $100,000+ for a system. Pillium, I don't even know shit about Pillium. Somebody answered on one of my things that said, oh, Pillium is sharp and edgy. Maybe that was the problem. Okay, I don't know anything about Pillium, so I can't say anything about them. But I know that the room did not give me what I wanted. I was expecting great things and hoping to feel some visceral impact. I just did not get it. I did, however, get incredible imaging and incredible, which leads me to another point that I want to make. I think too many manufacturers, too many rooms, too many people think that imaging does it. Like if you go in and there's a three-dimensional image, that it's crossed the line. No, it hasn't. Okay, it's almost like imaging, to make something image is almost the cheapest way to make people like your stuff. It's the easiest, cheapest way to make it image, and you can sell to almost anybody, because the uninitiated, the people that don't have seasoned ears, that don't know much, all they have to do is hear a three-dimensional image and they go, oh, it's amazing, it's unbelievable. It's like, dude, the image isn't that hard to do, okay? We can making it sumptuous and organic and natural and making you want to stay is what really gets an audio system across the line. But just doing imaging isn't enough. And I walked into many of the rooms and it was just like, oh, this is all about the imaging. Yeah, they got the image on, but there's no either it's lacking visceral impact, or it is I'm not connecting with the music. Sometimes you go in there, like I told you in my first vid, you go in there, everything sounds great, but you just don't connect with the music. You just don't get it. You're like, I don't know why I'm not connecting with the music. Everything sounds really good, but I'm not connecting with the music. So this is a feeling thing. You can't go through this just on your ears alone. If you go on this on your ears alone, you'll want everything in every room because it all sounds good, right? So there are a couple factors of how you decide what you want to buy. One is, how does it feel, okay? Does it make you feel like staying? Do you feel warm fuzzies, or do you feel cold pricklies, okay? And there's plenty of hi-fi out there that feels like cold pricklies. You just don't feel it. Analytically, it triggers your brain. It's imaging and it's doing bass and doing all that stuff. That's all still in the logical mind, which is there's no heart in that, okay? So you ask yourself, how does it feel? That's really what you do. And then the next step, once you understand how to do that, the next step is, what is the vibration of this brand and the people that surround it? Because you can go into some rooms where everything sounds great and it's really good delivery, the music sounds great, but you're just like, the energy there is off and weird and uptight and aggro. And you're like, if this is the energy surrounding the brand, I don't give a shit. Like, prime example for me, you guys know how I feel about Boulder. That's a horrible energy around that brand, okay? It could sound the best thing in the world. I still wouldn't want it because of the bad energy surrounding that brand. For me, okay? That is my opinion. Maybe different, other people may have different opinions of it. But if you go around, and so sometimes you will, how people get their energy from a brand will depict on how I feel about it. Now I go into Grandinote, okay? Instantly with Massimiliano, I am like he's like a brother. We hug, we cry, we laugh. It's like a brother. Man, there is a connection and a vibration. And I'm sure it's different for everybody because everybody has their own people and their own vibration and their own family or tribe, if you will. I stick with my tribe. Thomas Fisher. We met Thomas Fisher, the owner of Fisher and Fisher. Again, this guy is a big man, okay? A huge smile. You meet him, a big smile, a welcome, warming smile. He also gives you a hug. You hug him. It's like, man, this is my freaking tribe. These people are my tribe. So I know my tribe when I meet my tribe, and we do this, and the vibration is on. And when I meet some of the other brands, the vibration just isn't quite there. So that is when you get to the really far end of learning hi-fi, is you decide, well, everything's great in this upper strata. So what do I want to look at? What does the shit look like? And what's the vibrational energy of the people surrounding it, the people that buy it, and the people that make it? What is the vibe around it, you know? And what tribe do I want to be part of? Okay. And that is very important, because if you buy something that you feel cold pricklies from the people, but it sounds good, that sucks. I've heard stories about Ferrari. What a super cool car. But ever since the inception of Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari was a cold, prickly dude. Like, he just wanted to race. He didn't want retail customers to make production cars. He just wanted to race. So he treated his customers in a certain way. And from what I hear, that's how it goes. And it's sad, because what a great brand, but cold, prickly surrounding it, and arrogance and whatever. That sucks, because it ruins the brand for people that have a big heart, you know? And so it's the same with Hi-Fi, okay? But we also went to Hi-Fi Deluxe. Hi-Fi Deluxe was a much smaller show, okay? And it was off-site. It was 20 minutes away at a different hotel. Audio Nostrum, a Spanish company, very interesting speaker design. We went in there instantly. We're like, okay, one of the best sounds immediately. One of the best sounds that we've heard at the show. Very, very open, just amazing, boundless soundstage. And very nice realism, very organic and real sounding. His speakers had a really weird design. It looked like it was a diffuser in front of the main cone was like a horn-loaded thing, and then in front of it, it had what looked like a diffuser pod, but inside the diffuser pod was actually a super tweeter pointing straight back at the tweeter. So they would point at each other, and then, you know, whatever, disperse from there. It's a patent that he created. I've never seen that before. It was very interesting. And boy, did that room sound killer. They had some amazing turntables in there, and it was a beautiful room. And that was something that stuck out, something that stuck out was Audio Nostrum of Spain. That is something that was memorable, fully memorable. Again, we saw Audio Note, talked with Peter for like an hour or more down in the lobby. Another one of my tribe, okay? I know it when I see him. Peter, and we started talking about all sorts of stuff, man. And it's like, we talk about this much audio and then all sorts of other things in the world, you know? And Peter is very smart, very well read. We met his children, his son Daniel, very nice guy. He's got curly hair out to here. We loved his hair. He turned us on to the Melvins, which I did not know about, and was like, I've heard of this band, but never knew about them, and listened to them and was sold immediately. I'm like, cool, like, I totally dig this band. So he was really cool, and we met his daughter, Emily, beautiful Emily, in the business, along with her brother, Daniel, and it was interesting to see his children. I would love to speak with his children away from dad to see what their minds are like, because with their father, knowing their father's brain, I would really love to see how their minds are as children of him. You know, you can see they're kind of like, he's telling us all these stories, and I looked at Emily, and she gave me this look like, oh, here we go again, right? And I could just tell in that moment, she hears this a lot. Of course they would. They're his children. So he is so charismatic that I'm sure he talks with everybody. He goes on and on and on. Peter's a very interesting person and very smart, and it was just funny to see the interaction. They own the company now, and they will carry Audio Note forward, and they're good people. You can feel it in the heart. There's good heart. There's love there. There's it's good energy, right? And we went up to the Audio Note room. They showed us the new DAC. It's just in typical Audio Note fashion. It is very unique. It is very hand-built, point-to-point, just through-hole components, hand-wound transformers, you know, just a very esoteric level hand-built piece. And so that was very interesting. And what you notice when you go into Audio Note is it's just music. I noticed this at Dart Seal, and I'll get back to that. But you go into Audio Note, it's just music. You don't care two shits about the gear. And I was telling Andy, who was with me there, Andy from Chicago, my friend and client, and I was saying, man, isn't it amazing how we're not even thinking about the gear? Now you go into other rooms, and all you're thinking about is the gear. You're looking at it, and you're talking about the gear, and it's gear, which is a sign that I'd rather go into the rooms where it's about the music, okay? And that is more important to me, because in the end, that's all that matters, is the music. The things don't matter, okay? And so Audio Note is one of those brands. You go in, you just notice music. We talk about music, the discussion's about music, and that's what happened in there. And when talking to Peter, you know, he explained that his look is deliberately nondescript. He deliberately makes black faces that just aren't fancy on purpose, because he is trying to show you, like this, it's not about look. We don't need look, okay? So it's like what I do with these videos. I don't need production quality to make you guys watch, because I deliver content that is valuable, okay? Peter does the same with this product. He doesn't need shiny bells and whistles and lights and displays and touchscreens and shit like that and polished chrome, because he delivers the content. He delivers the music in a way that no other company does. So he on purposely puts nothing, he doesn't put nothing in. He still has pretty chassis, but they're basic and they're done like that by design, because that's his alma mater. So I applaud that. That was great. It was really wonderful to talk with him. I always love to see Peter. Then we saw this company called RA Acoustics. Never seen them. A complete speaker. Okay, he had it cut in half to show us the cutaway with all the wicked bracing and everything. All of it 1.25 inch Panzer holes. The whole freaking speaker. Not only just the baffle. Like I've seen speaker. I don't even think I've seen Panzer holes is typically used in plinths on turntables. Okay. This is a polyamide. It is layers of waxed paper that is like 1,000 layers thick, and it's bulletproof. And it's not wood. It is a polymer. It is a polyamide. Like I mean, it's incredible stuff. Just look up Panzer holes. You can machine it. You know, and it is bulletproof wood. Okay, basically, for lack of a better descriptor. Incredible material. The whole speaker's Panzer holes. The whole freaking thing. The inside. And I think it was under 30 grand. And I was like, geez, man. I mean, if you know how expensive shit is made with Panzer holes, you'll make knife handles out of it. Shit like that. Like stuff that needs to be super tough. And so that was incredible to see this. And man, his room, best treated room I've seen ever. The acoustic treatments in that room and the way it was done, out of this world. Phenomenal. It was Solution gear in there, which is still out for me. I just kind of don't know much about Solution, and I haven't had a warm, fuzzy vibe by what it's surrounding. And it's not just, there isn't that, it's not that I get a cold prickly from it. It's that I just haven't, it seems to be like this stepchild, redheaded stepchild. It just in places, but I don't really get any company vibe behind it, okay? So I see the products in places, but I don't see the people or hear anything or meet anybody from there that are giving me any feelings about who's surrounded this company. I just see the products. Same with like Pilium. I just see these fucking products in places, and there's no real feeling of the company behind it. It's just like they're just there. And it's just like, okay, well, another Fox that's $100,000, you know? I want some soul behind it if there's going to be a box like that, you know? And I just didn't get it. So jury's still out for me on Solution, and just like it is on Pilium. Acapella, which I briefly told you about, boring as hell music. I got in there, it was like they played this thing, somewhere over the rainbow. It's like some chick singing. I was like, put the gun in my mouth and suicide music, dude. It's like, you're gonna play something like this? Like, dude, we have fucking balls, bro. We want testosterone music with test in it. We don't want like this freaking suicide music for anorexic people. You know, I mean, that's what it seemed like to me. It's like, dude, like, who listens to this shit and really actually takes this music serious? The only thing that could be the saving grace for this is you can hear every little bit of tongue. Do you know what AMSR is? Like where they take the microphones. It's a weird type of fetish where you put the microphone up in your mouth and you can hear all the saliva and shit. And then they probably do weird shit with things lower and hear all the little wet noises and shit. It's just a weird, creepy thing that's kind of gross. And that's what this recording had. You could hear every movement of her tongue in her mouth, and she was whispering, and it was just like, dude, this is like bugging me out. I'm like, I'm going to kill myself in here. I got to get out of here. And I went to the guy, and that's where he said, rock and roll is not part of the program. I was like, oh shit, okay, I gotta not take you guys serious for a while then. So I was out of there. Went to Tad. Tad was, as always, beautiful sound. Tad does highs different than anybody. Mids and highs out of Tad speakers are unparalleled. Tad has a house sound that is silky and smooth and beautiful and refined, and that's how Tad is. And it did not disappoint. We listened to the R1s. We were listening to R1s in a very small room, very close, which was interesting because I got to hear their largest speaker, and it didn't need a large room, which was kind of cool to me. So that was interesting. We went to ESD, the Chinese brand. Okay, so I went into ESD, huge ass room. Okay, and you go into the room, and we listened to this brand. We listened to them, and they were playing orchestral music, you know, and the scale was real life orchestra size. I've never heard that done. The size and the scale was immense. Okay, that was impressive. Okay. We did that for a while, and I was impressed by that. I liked the guy's outfit. The guy was wearing a Shogun dress or whatever the hell. So it was pretty cool. I was like, cool outfit, man. I dig the whole presentation. You know, it's a little different, you know. And then he said at 6 o'clock there's an after party and free beer. So the lights went down, and they start out with Metallica, and they play Metallica. And it was loud, but it still wasn't loud enough, right? It was loud, but it's like, dude, if you're going to play Metallica and you're going to have a system this big and it's going to recreate live concert music, then I want the shit at live concert level, like real live. Turn it up, you know, let's hear it louder. It was loud, but I want to hear it at full rip. Like, this is Metallica, bro. It's rock and roll. You just got to kill it with this. Show us what it can do that nobody else can do. Nobody else can do true full concert level. And they showed it with the orchestral, but they didn't show it with the Metallica. It was cool that they were playing that, but it was just kind of more kitschy. It was more like they just did it as symbolic. We'll play some American rock music just to show that it can do rock, but it was more like a charade kind of than anything. And then they played some dance music that I think somebody recommended to them because they said this was they said you can make suggestions or whatever, you know, requests. And this was the most goofy ass ridiculous techno music I've heard in my life. It was like freaking video game music. I was like, it was so freaking ridiculous that it was like a parody. Like, I'm like, I can't believe what I'm hearing. So the whole, and like I promised you guys that I would do, I said, I got up on that system, didn't I? You guys saw me. I went up close. I said, let's find the chinks in this armor. No pun intended, okay? But let's find the cracks in the armor. Let's find where the Achilles heel is. We went behind the gear. I started looking at the interface of where the cables go in. It's shit-ass, zinc-plated, twist lock, the cheapest possible frickin' plugs you could put. The PET, which is cheap polyethylene. They have the cheapest covering that you could put on a cable, and it's pulling away from the heat shrink, so it's stretched and pulled away, which is typically what you see in Chinese shit. It's like, this is how Chinese put their shit together. They make it good enough. Okay, but they don't go the last mile, and they never do. So when you come up close and you look close to the details, you find out where they cut corners and how they use, and it was a charade. It's fake hi-fi. That stuff is absolutely nowhere near the price they're charging, in my opinion. We went inside some of the gear. They had one open. Stupid mistake. I looked inside that thing. Cheap ass PC boards, cheap ribbon cables, cheap freaking little plastic potentiometers for the knobs inside, mounted directly to a PC board that's slammed up against the back of the front panel. It's ridiculous, the shit quality of that stuff that they're charging. It is blatant opportunism at its worst. They're not even doing a good job at cloaking it. It takes 2 seconds of getting up close on it to realize this is a complete fake. Okay, it's a complete fake. Yeah, the scale of the music is big. So fucking what? So is a PA system from Guitar Center. I could make the same damn sound if I got a $50,000 Guitar Center PA system with bass bins. Their bass even sucked. They had some woofers at the back, but they didn't know how to do bass right. It wasn't even integrated right. There should have been much more bass for the scale of the highs and the mids that they had. It should have had much more bass. It should have been making the windows flex, but it just did not. My take on ESD, total, complete fraud of high end. It at the worst level, okay? You couldn't find more of a ripoff, okay, in my opinion, than that bullshit. Okay, but they have the pretty thing and they give away free beer and it's just a complete stroke job. Okay, and I suggest you go see it just to see what the fake hi-fi looks like. Okay, so on to something real. Dart Seal. Okay, we go into the Dart Seal room, which happened to be across the hall from the Chinese. Thank God, because I needed the chaser. And I went into Dart Seal and holy shit, phew. Now I can chill and relax. Okay, Dart Seal, I got to tell you, there's a mystique with Dart Seal. You all know that because it's uber expensive. Okay, some people like it only because it's uber expensive and they don't even get it. They don't even know why they like it. They just like it because it's expensive. Okay, so where Dart Seal threw me off was a couple things. First of all, $1 million turntable cartridge. Okay, that must have been a joke. Maybe it was a publicity stunt. Maybe it was a typo. But I don't think it was. But I'm going to ignore that whole part, and I'm just going to talk about the amps and the gear. What threw me off is gold and red colors, okay? That's gaudy. And anybody has their own opinion, right? But to me, there is no elegance in the way it looks. It is gaudy and it sticks out like a sore thumb, okay? But what I understood from Dart Seal when I went into the Dart Seal room, and I spent some time listening, is Dart Seal is a family. It is, you are part of an exclusive club. It is just like Audio Note. I put Dart Seal in the same genre as I do Audio Note. It is the only other one. Now, I would like to say Burmester maybe and MBL maybe, but they don't quite hit the level that Audio Note and Dart Seal do. But it is a symbiosis with Dart Seal. You use only Dart Seal. To put Dart Seal amps with any other shit is ridiculous in my opinion. It's just like putting an Audio Note DAC with other shit. You just, why would you do that? Audio Note is a symbiotic family. Dart Seal is a symbiotic family, okay? And to have the experience, you put all of that shit together. What I asked the guy when I was there, why doesn't Dart Seal make speakers? You know, and he just laughed and he didn't have an answer. Dart Seal should make speakers, because then they have the complete system. That's what Audio Note does. Audio Note does everything, even down to the capacitors and the resistors inside and the transformers. So I understood Dart Seal a lot more, and I got better respect for it. It took me a little time in there to slow down from the Chinese assault on my senses to the refinement of Dart Seal. But once I got into Dart Seal and I spent some time there, I didn't want to leave. That's a good sign for me. That means it's music, and I'm hearing music, I'm enjoying music, I'm not thinking about the gear, other than the gear is freaking red and gold. The front is a very deliberate fly cut that is machine marks that are left there on purpose, and it makes a cool design. The Jeff Rowland does the same thing with machine marks in a different way, so I understood that is something that is there on purpose as a look. It's cool. It gives it a different facet of facade. Dart Seal is just, that's a whole thing, baby. That's a whole mindset, a whole energy. It's a whole thing, just like Audio Note. So I got more respect for Dart Seal when I was there. They had the biggest Stenheim speakers that were there, and together it was beautiful. It was really great. I really enjoyed that. A lot of this is energy, and that's the reason, you know, and I've given you the slow drip on this energy thing, but it is about the people and about the vibration and about the love, because there are people here that have none of that, that are just here to try and profit, and they do not have any intentions that are good for you and your audio listening experience. And then there are other people that it's almost like they don't care about the sales. They could be fine whether they're doing hi-fi, whether they're doing art, whether whether they're doing auto racing, whatever. They don't need, and then there's the people that need every little drop of blood out of the sale from you, and they're going to squeeze you until you give every little drop of blood. And, so you hear me describe that, and it's hard to put it into words. It's hard for me, and I'm one of the few people that will approach the subject. Most people will talk about it in private, but they won't talk to you like I talk to you. And that's why you come to this channel, because I have no problem in letting you know about what the whole deal is like. It's just like life, same as anything in life. There's good, there's bad, there's greedy fucks, and then there's compassionate people, right? And so surround yourself with whoever you want to be surrounded by. So, anyways, that was my wrap up. That's my wrap up for the show, and it was great coming here to the show. It's great to see. I will take you on my travels now as we leave. We head to Vienna tomorrow. So I will take you on the travels. You will see a lot more than Hi-Fi. And thanks for joining. See you.